But you see also it has beans in it and pistik yağı και τέτοια. I want to buy this. Kita. Mitilini Tokatlian. An Armenian name. Restaurant Brazil's pork hands. Galata. This is south part of Taksim. Hu Venedik. Pera. Again Taksim. Charcuterie Thuringienne. Thuringia, it's a regional state in Germany. I don't know why they wrote it in. This is Ozan speaking about mezzes, what he has written. The mezzes that we eat are not just inventions purpose to fill us up. They are almost direct reflections of our environment as they were produced locally and they vary locally. Products that they use or involve can tell a lot about the local economy that they were coming from, or even social relations can really affect how these products use and transformed into delicious sides for raki. Years of collective wisdom inherited by generation after generation in their preparation has molded them into cultural spectacles. Main city, the biggest city of Lesvos is Mytilini, and it's in the eastern side of the island, almost like southeast part of it. Eastern part of the island itself is quite green because it has access to fresh water sources that are coming from Mount Ida, which is actually in Turkey. Today is a bit of a windy and a foggy day, so you won't be able to see the Turkey, but it's quite easy to notice from the point that I'm standing, the whole mountain itself. At the same time, western part of the island has a lack of fresh water, thus it's much more rocky and much more volcanic at the same time. And farmers are often more far engaged with goat and sheep production and anything that comes around it, dairy, wool, etc. This type of mishmash enables this island to create much more relevant food of meze cuisine, let's say, than many other places. It's one of the rare islands where seafood, agriculture, and animal husbandry is being able to be done simultaneously all together. For you, we also try to portray one of the very significant villages in the island, Madamados, which is actually coming from a Turkish word, manda, which is buffalo, where back in the day, buffaloes were being used in order to produce cheese, which is somehow was a type of a cheese that is closer to mozzarella, but eventually the communities here decided to somehow produce their own in the way that they know. When you will go to Madamados or to any specific villages in Lesvos, it's very likely that you will find out cooperatives built around sheep or goat milk, and then cheese production followed by it, at the same time olive oil. And it was just a matter of time and wisdom to bring all these elements together to produce this wonderful, wonderful cheese. You might wonder why we might be in front of an abandoned big hotel, Hotel Champs-Élysées, where I used to hold diplomats and big events and concerts. But there's a plant here that makes very much sense when it comes to meze and rakı, and it's this one, fennel. They used to have yellow flowers as such, and they slowly turn into green, and then eventually to brown when they dry out. And later, we collect the seeds, and the producers make rakı out of it. It's one of the main flavorings inside to give this anise taste and also the bright white color. Here we are with the wonderful magic of editing in the back garden of ours. Lemon tree of mine, nice grapefruit trees in the distance. Let's go ahead and how we can work out the whole thing. Well, the ingredients are quite basic. It's basically we're going to pan fry and almost like panne the whole cheese up front, but with a little bit of a twist. So we got some flour, egg, mixed seeds, which are black sesame seeds, white sesame seeds, and poppy seeds, black pepper, salt, lemon, fig marmalade, Ladotyri cheese, and oil. The Ladotyri cheese. So the cheese, as you can see, came quite oily. This whole oil, we didn't put anything on it. This is how it's being basically preserved. So what I'm going to do is that first maybe I can start with the egg. What we are doing here is very similar to making schnitzel basically. So you have your flour, your egg, and instead of breadcrumbs, we're going to use some nuts here. So that's the main difference, maybe you can say. So I'm going to beat my egg. You can also season your egg if you want to, but often I try not to because the cheese itself is a bit salty. I rather add it in the end. Alright, so this is ready. Now I'm gonna get a big chunk from the cheese. Because the cheese has already been rested inside olive oil, it doesn't need much else. I mean, all this oil that you're seeing here is basically the oil that we got from the packaging. This oil itself helps for the flour to stick to the cheese. So here we go, all the way through, coated it as much as possible, rub it in if it's necessary. But the important thing is that before it goes to the cheese, it should be covered with flour all the way. Get rid of the excess batter, and then in we go with our egg. Same process, full coverage. Excess batter goes away, and then with the seeds, you can often end up with not so much. So it's okay to kind of pour them over and kind of press them a little bit so they can stick. And then use it like a wheel to kind of get the sides as well. All right, so that's that. So for the frying, I have my pan quite on a high flame. We're gonna do a shallow fry, but again, the oil needs to be a bit hot for the batter to cook first, then the cheese inside. So we kind of cook it as if we're shallow frying. This much oil will gladly do. So high heat, we let the oil smoke a little bit slightly, not too much. And then we fry it on high heat first, and then we move it to a medium to low heat in order for the cheese inside to melt and become gooey and quite tasty. So now I'm gonna put the cheese inside, and you need to hear that sizzling sound somehow. And like I said, we're gonna cook them probably like 2 to 3 minutes on high heat so that the crust can form up and like become golden brown. But then we're gonna move it to a lower heat for a couple of minutes so that the cheese inside can melt and like become gooey and viscous. Now, the magic of time is what we needed. Here, as you can see, like slowly we're building up the crust, and like the cheese is kind of oozing in between the crevices that are left alone. I think it's pretty much time now. Kind of flip it again. Now you can see cheese is definitely oozing out, and at that stage I still want it to float out a little bit more, so I kind of move it to a space where there's less heat so that the cheese can settle down a little bit. We keep the texture outside quite crunchy, but at the same time when we cut it, it will kind of ooze out like this nice picturesque moment that we prefer to have. All right, I think we're there. This looks quite good to me. I'm gonna move it to our board. See all these nice crevices that we wanted that have been formed finally. This is the crunch that we want to hear. Can you hear, Robbie boy? And then reveal this nice gooey texture that we all love in Ladotyri. Serve it. So the cheese is a bit oily and fatty, thus it's nice to serve it with something sweet, but at the same time something sour. So for me, I kind of like to go with the combo of a lemon and some fig marmalade, and what's left is to give it a try. One day to describe you how the guy behind the camera looks at me right now. But anyway, and a bit of the marmalade, it's perfect. And the rest that is left is to have good company to share it with. If you like this video, please follow our channel, Meze Project. We're trying to bring out more mezzes as such and small appetizers that are good with like drinking and with company. And give us a thumbs up if you like in general what we're doing. It can really help out for us to bring more videos to you. Right? Now, thanks for watching. Take care of yourselves. Bye. Come over, Rob. Come. Dip it inside as well. No company, no good. Give it to me. Give it to me. Hey, take it. Another time, bro.